What's up, podcast fans? It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and this is a very special episode of the Million Pound Mission podcast. Now, you're going to get to listen in as I do a one-on-one coaching session with one of my clients for my Transformation ReBoot program. We're going to dig deep into their top transformation danger zones and come up with actionable steps they can implement right away. And you need to listen in and you can implement those same steps to get better results for yourself. Now, be sure to hang out after the episode to learn how you can do a free 10-day trial inside of my Transformation ReBoot program. All right, let's dive into the coaching session. All right, Sarah, welcome to your hot seat session. What would you like to focus on today?
I've honestly had a lot of stuff going on in my life, both personal and work, and I'm trying to figure out a way to not feel like I'm living in like a state of crisis.
Yeah. So give me a little bit more on that. Like, are you feeling like you aren't getting any time for you, or you're like your health is kind of going south, or what's getting squeezed out of the equation?
Just very stressful situations to the point where I can't have my normal structured daily life like I would like.
Okay. When we hit those times when we're getting a little bit overworked, overstressed, what I tend to try to focus on, help other people focus on is, okay, what are the variables that we can control? And then what are the variables that we can't control? And,
right.
And really hunkering down there. So with work, with life, think, okay, like for example, I was just doing a chat with another member that her mother was diagnosed with cancer. And it's like, okay, what can we control? We can't control like she has cancer, like that is there. And of course that's a stressor, but that's one of the variables that we can't control. So we can focus on, all right, what can we control? Well, I can control how I support that person. I can control how I set myself up to make sure that I've got time to support that person. So that's the way you kind of, get the butter knife out and kind of draw that line in the situation and go, okay, here are things that are not in my control. So maybe like work situations, sometimes people, the boss is putting a little heat on them or something, or they're being overworked extra hours. And maybe that's outside of your control, but maybe what's in your control is you can have a little meeting with the HR person or something like that. So that's always a good place to just kind of start off, because then we know what's actually in our control. Then we can develop action steps in that area. And of course, the things that are outside of our control will still probably stress us out a little bit, but at least we know that we are putting our energy into the areas that we can actually make a difference in. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So
and I was listening to one of your talks where I think having like an anchor habit is really helpful, where I know I do this every single day and that at least keeps my day on track. And for me, that's always been working out.
okay.
So at this point, I'm working out like 2 to 3 days a week. And I honestly, if I could do it every day with the rest day in there, of course,
Yeah.
I feel like my days would go a lot better.
Okay. Well, let's hunker down on that then. What's the most likely workout for you to be able to accomplish? Like, if like for some people, it's like, I got to go to a boot camp class, or I got to do at-home yoga video or something like that. So what's like the most likely to succeed type of workout for you?
I'm big into Orange Theory. Orange Theory works well for me.
Okay.
I always set high goals for myself. So I really want to have like almost like 2 hours of activity a day, but it's hard to get that much activity in.
Yeah.
So ideally I would do like an hour of Orange Theory and then maybe like a 30-minute walk, maybe even a 30-minute swim. That sort of a thing would be great. Yeah. That would be like the A+ day.
Yeah. Are you looking at AM, midday, PM? Like what time range on the workout?
Usually I'm a night person, so working out and getting into class at night works pretty well for me.
Okay.
If I can also get in a walk at lunch, that would be really good for me. Some days I'll try and sneak away and get in the swim at lunch as well. I wish I could get up in the morning. It just doesn't tend to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And you tend to be up a little bit later too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So
compared to you.
yeah, yeah. The 8 p.m. bedtime doesn't work out for everybody. Okay, so this is helpful. So we know that, well, obviously in times that are higher stress, lower time to invest in fitness, we're not shooting for that A+ day every day. Like our anchor habit will be what's like the fundamental amount that has to happen instead of the excellent amount. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So if we can get a 60-minute workout class in after work, then that is like the fundamental amount. And then we can work on that like lunch walk and try to block that schedule out. But the minimum, like this has to happen fundamentally after work, and booking in advance and things like that then we just set up with our 28-day cycle. All right, maybe like Wednesday is your rest day or something like that, and you just go in and you book those classes, and you work backwards from that and go, okay, I'm committed to that. How do I save my schedule to block off that time so I can be out of work to go and do that, and block off my calendar from that. And then you kind of each week you review what days you're already booked for and how you set up your schedule and go, okay, what could screw this up this week? And then we kind of attack, put out a few fires in advance, hopefully there. And then you work it down to like that next day. You go each day, all right, this is supposed to happen tomorrow. Did anything change in my schedule? Did anything, shift around that I need to be aware of that would interrupt this time? And try to put out those fires 24 hours in advance. So it all starts with just the commitment. You have to kind of jump in, because where people mess this up is they try to start like the complete opposite end and work towards like, once I get everything all perfect, then I will sign up and commit.
Yeah.
But I want you to do that first, because once you block off that schedule, we have something to work with, and we can work backwards in those jumps to where eventually, it won't always work out perfectly. You might have to cancel a class or reschedule or something like that. But you have that rhythm and you have that goal, and we just keep chipping away towards that goal. And all of a sudden you've got that fundamental habit. Then that becomes nice and routine. And it's not as like stressful. You don't have to put so much thought energy into it. Then we start adding in, okay, same process, lunch walk. And we go out and you just commit, block off your schedule, and then go through the exact same process, working backward to, especially with you, like with your career, variables are going to be thrown at you. So I really like this method.
Yeah.
Where you have different like filters of time. So you have the 28-day filter, you've got the 7-day filter where you check through, and then the 24 hours in advance filter to check through one more time to put out fires. And, again, just taking it easy on yourself, because just knowing that every once in a while something will need to be shifted or adjusted, but that's the exception. That's not the norm. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah. So that's one of the goals that I have now that I'm working on. The other one is I've been eating out a lot lately, just with being so crazy. And my nutrition has been okay. I'm not like doing anything super horrible, but like in order to keep with my goals and keep on track where I want to get to, I feel like I need to make more of my own food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So what do you feel like is keeping you from doing that? And then like, what do you feel like is the first implementable action step we need to take to get the ball rolling?
I think one of my biggest struggles is just the like strategic implementation where I'll plan out. I like to make everything from scratch. Like on my A+ week, I would, I'd make my own mayonnaise if I had the time to do that. It's like- I mean, like that is actually a personal goal of mine, is to make all of my own condiments.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's like, I have amazing olive oil and I love cooking, and I have a really great tikka masala recipe. I'm experimenting with lemongrass. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, but implementing, 4 complicated recipes a week is like way too much. Too
Yeah.
much. Way too much.
Yeah, well, that's a good first step, is realizing what too much is. And then we kind of work backwards from there. And it sounds like you get a lot of joy out of it. So I would, maybe your weekend time, you do some
Yes, yeah.
prep and you do some of that and enjoy it. But we don't make it like I have to make all of my own food from scratch, because that's, again,
Right.
in the season of life that you're in right now, work hours are up, personal stress hours are up. It's just not reasonable to be like, and now I will add this
Right.
expectation. So we don't want that on top of everything else. But I think it's very reasonable to have some leisure time on the weekend where you just, experiment with recipes and kind of that's as long as that's you time and it's like rejuvenating for you and you feel like, okay, this is something that's going to kind of fill up my tank and my cup again and not stress you out more. And then when you start to get into that stressed out level of, oh my God, I gotta finish this and go, then that's like, okay, that's the too much level, and we cut back from there. And that will shift around depending on what you have going on with work and with life. But I think that's an awesome goal to work towards. And I know you're a high achiever and you strive to be like crushing it in every aspect of your life, even in mayonnaise, production. So
that makes some pretty darn good mayonnaise.
I can imagine. It's amazing. But I would just think about, sometimes that drive screws us up, and it happens to everybody, myself included. Like, I'm more in the mindset of like ideas. I get a million ideas and I want to just start going on them and get hopping around and create new things. And it's kind of like, if you imagine like a circle, there are lots of little tiny arrows going off in all different directions versus a circle with one arrow going in one direction and it's way bigger. That's kind of the mindset we want to shift to is, all right, if I can just crush this foundational exercise habit, that's going to drive me in one direction that's very, very positive, instead of just doing a little bit of effort in all these different directions and I kind of am staying in the same place. Yeah. So, but once we get momentum with that habit, it becomes lifestyle. It's ingrained. It's automated. Then we go, okay, next thing, I'm really going to work on that lunch walk. And then boom, next thing, I'm going to make 4 from scratch meals per week or whatever it is. And we just go next thing. But I would just kind of make a check down list of like the A+ day, the A+ lifestyle, the A+, nutrition and all that. And then just take it one at a time, one category at a time, and really drive hard there, implement, make it a habit, make it a lifestyle, and then go to the next one. So, and it's hard to do for people like you and I that really want to get after it. But once we see the fruit from that effort and that focus, it'll shift you over. And then you're excited because you're like, ooh, these things are still kind of waiting. Yeah. I can play with those soon. So is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Yes. And part of that is, one of the things I've realized with me in nutrition is that unless I really enjoy the food, I'm probably not going to eat it.
Yeah.
And having a variety as well. So the idea of just making like 7 chicken breasts and eating 7 chicken breasts a week, I'm never going to do it. I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah. Well, you can still get creative though with like bulk prep, like different preparations of like baked chicken with different spices and, doing different casseroles with that, or Crockpot stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be like 7 chicken breasts, boom, slap it on the plate. Like, you can be creative. Like, that's where I would challenge you is, all right, how do I bulk prep and make it stuff that I'm interested in eating? Or like, if you like all these sauces and stuff, or like salads and mixtures and stuff like that, do your base thing that you like, the chicken, like you make a bunch of chicken, but then you have all these variations of how maybe some of it's sliced up and put on a salad. The next one is in like a skillet thing. The next one is, different sauces put on top. So I feel like that's where you're going to get your creative variety. And maybe week to week, you bulk prep a different style of meat as your protein base or whatever, or just kind of mess around with bulk prep soups or bulk prep salads and kind of just shift around. I think you could have some fun with that too.
And I'm going to go out and get a Crockpot.
Oh my God, you got to get one. You just can't listen to the whole "This Is Us" crowd that like are afraid you're gonna that ruined the Crockpot industry. If I was Mr. Crockpot, I would be so pissed at that show. Makes people afraid of crockpots. It'll burn my house down and everyone dies. Oh my God. Spoiler alert. So yeah, the Crockpot, like I'm in that thing twice a week at least, and or these new Instapots. I have to admit, I'm old school. I had somebody give me an Instapot. I didn't even use it because I was like, oh, this just is like.
What do you mean by Instapot?
The Instapot is the quick one that like it's like a pressure cooker Crockpot combo, and it cooks it like super fast. But there were too many like bells and whistles on it. I couldn't even, it's not just press the button on and leave, then I can't figure it out. So there were like 4 buttons on it. I'm like, this is way too much for me. But you seem like a more thorough like instruction reader than I am. So I think you'll be all right. But I would investigate Instapot versus Crockpot. See, because I know the pricing wise, they're about the same. So I would check that. I know a lot of people do like hard boiled eggs in like 10 minutes in Instapot, and it's like totally perfect or whatever. And that doesn't sound too like probably appealing to you, but people like me that just like will eat hard boiled eggs by the handful.
No.
That's what roped me in initially. But yeah, I would weigh the benefits there, see what seems like it makes more sense to you. Or if you know somebody that has an Instapot, maybe let them have you borrow it and you can try it out. But
I'm more of a poached egg girl.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to do that. So
Yeah.
Well, cool.
And I guess my last goal is I
Yeah.
really want to challenge myself to make friends who are not lawyers. In the Denver metro area, I'm completely surrounded by lawyers, and I think I really crave and enjoy conversations with non-lawyers at this point.
My sister and brother-in-law live in Denver. I'll introduce you to them, and they're super cool, and they're teachers. So I can make an intro there.
They're not lawyers. That's amazing.
they know all sorts of people, and I'll make an intro that they may know somebody that's super cool that you can they can intro you to, or maybe you'll be best friends. Who knows? We may just made
who knows? Yeah,
right there. But yeah, otherwise I would. Now, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 37.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, they're right around that same age. So I've got a niece that goes to college in there, but you don't need to be hanging out like with all the college kids or anything like that. So none of us do. Yeah, I think that's a great goal though, like getting outside of the rhythm, because sometimes the lawyer lifestyle is a little hard charging and doesn't necessarily, not always, but it doesn't always vibe with super healthy eating and super healthy sleep levels and stress levels. So it's good. I'm glad that you're looking out there for some balance. I think that's really, really smart. And the whole like you're the average of the 5 people you're around the most type of thing. I really believe in that. So
yes,
find the people that can be a part of your healthy tribe, and people that motivate you, and people that open up your eyes to different conversations, different ideas. I think that's always good. So yeah, I'll make that connection right away, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go have a healthy dinner or something. So you'll show off some cooking skills.
We won't talk about litigation at all, so that sounds amazing.
Yeah. They don't even know what you're talking about, so that's perfect. All right, Sarah. Well, I think you're on the right track. We got some good action steps. And it's just, again, with somebody like you that's very, very driven, very, very goal oriented, let those goals drive you, but always, take some time to sit and think like, wow, I'm really proud of myself. I've come a long way, and celebrate those wins along the way. That's super important too. Hey, thanks for hanging out for a minute after the episode. I hope you got a ton of value out of that coaching session. Now, if you are ready to reclaim control over your health and be a part of an amazing community and support system, I want you to head on over to millionpoundmission.com and start your free 10-day trial inside of my Transformation ReBoot program. Now, as part of this program, you get to do monthly one-on-one strategy sessions with me, just like you heard here today. We also do weekly small group support sessions, monthly deep dive discussions, and the daily interaction and support you'll get inside of our community page is unlike anything you have ever experienced in your fitness journey. Now, I know that you're probably somebody that is willing to put in the effort to reach your transformation goals. And if you allow me to add some structure, accountability, and support around that effort, you'll be able to gain amazing momentum and feel unstoppable. So head on over to millionpoundmission.com and start your risk-free 10-day free trial of the Transformation ReBoot program. My friend, I will look forward to doing your welcome video chat session soon.